program. So yeah, I'm based at Stanford Palo Alto year-round, and it's the absolute highlight of my year to have ALU students here and to be able to really see Silicon Valley through your lens, and also to see how much the students are able to accomplish in their 1 month here. We're able to go to leading companies like OpenAI, IDEO, Google, GoogleX, Amazon, AWS, Coursera, Uber, Lyft, Intel Corporation, and they meet countless speakers, and we do lots of networking evenings and sightseeing around California. So it's a very, very fun program, and it's wonderful to see what students are able to do out of what they've learned during the program afterwards as well. We'll dive into that a bit later, but just really lovely to have you all here, and thank you so much for joining. NG is the faculty lead for the program. Would you like to introduce yourself, NG? It'll be NG's 3rd year joining me here to run the program. So happy to have him back again this year.
Yeah, probably you were giving out my age and you were just like, I'm 3 years old, and I've just been like, yeah, I'm my best age mate, you know? And hello, everyone. My name is Nji. And I think probably a good number of you do know me. I mean, I see a couple of you that I've worked with in different entrepreneurship programs hosted by the Center of Entrepreneurship. But my name is Nji, and I serve as the entrepreneurship manager under the Center for Entrepreneurship, and I also double as the SOWC incubator manager, but speaking here in capacity as the faculty lead for the Global Leadership Program. And it is usually the highlight of my year as well, Laura. I mean, I think being remote, working with students in person is always a very, very interesting and exciting part of my year. And I mean, it is one of those programs that I really do wish a lot more ALU students would go through. But I think there definitely constraints when it comes to the means, you know. It is a costly program, not just to ALU, but also to students in terms of procedures and getting visas. And so we try to get as many students as possible. But I think when it comes to the curriculum side of things, which falls under my portfolio, the goal of the program really is usually to give students a couple of frameworks through which, or expose students to a couple of frameworks through which they can view their businesses or ideas from. And when we're really looking at applicants, at least from where I stand, I'm most often looking for students that, one, are able to serve as good ambassadors for ALU, right? And given that you're getting into a different culture and you're supposed to represent ALU in most of the meetings and events which Laura has spoken about. So are you able to be or serve as a good ambassador for ALU? And when we talk about that as well, I mean, it's not about just saying the things that are good about ALU, but it's also just being honest about your ALU experience and being willing to interact and mingle with other people, you know? And so that's one of the things that we usually look out for, but at the same time as well, I think you should have a venture, right? You should show that the learnings from the program would be able to help you improve your business, your entrepreneurial experience, and so on. But I think one of the things that I would be looking forward to extra this year is students' ability to carry this learning and bring back to the ALU community and help other students understand what they've learned. And so being able to clearly articulate that in your application process would probably make Laura and myself read the application, but you're not guaranteed entry. Just kidding, guys. But that being said, thank you all so much and looking forward to the conversation. Laura, over to you.
Thank you so much for that, NG. So a lot of people have submitted a form with questions. I'll get to all these questions. A lot of those questions cover like eligibility, financial aid, as well as more information about the program. I will answer all those questions at the end of this call. But before we go, and you're welcome to put questions in the chat as well at the end, and then we can answer those too. But before we get to that, I'd love to give some alumni of the program a chance to speak and to share their experience as well as recommendations for applying and submitting your application. So I'm going to put some questions in the chat for the alumni. And Merve has kindly agreed to go first. Thank you so much, Merve.
Okay, thank you. Are the questions there yet? All right. Right. A brief overview of my experience at the GLP. I had to note down my answers, guys, just so I can, go straight to the point. And first of all, my experience at the GLP, I don't like using this word, but it's the word life-changing. And I don't like using the word life-changing because I feel like every moment in your life is changing you. But the GLP certainly is one of those moments that you remember really changed you in your life. It's one of those experiences which open your eye and your mind, right? You get to see how the world is big, but you also get to see how your mind is big enough to accommodate all the greatness that you'll be seeing out there, right? For example, you also get to learn simple things which really change you. For example, you learn to live with people that you didn't know, right? You learn to get to know people from an instant conversation. You also learn to look deeper into the curriculum. I think she pointed that out, and it's really, really, really helpful. The curriculum was one of the things which really changed me through the JLP program. Have I utilized some of the skills that I learned during the program? Yes, I did. When I joined the GLP program, I had an idea, right? But I went on a journey which helped me, explore, crack my mind, literally crack your mind, as in sometimes you have to I don't want to be figurative about this, but sometimes you really have to open up your head and see how many things you can add, how many things you should remove. There's so much more you can do with your idea. Sometimes we tend to minimize what we originally had, and then, the more we work on it, the more we spend time on it, you sleep with it, you think of it, it changes, it evolves, right? And it was an interesting journey to refine my idea into a business idea, but also to change and to grow myself as a different person. The advice that I would give to students applying, first of all, it is your story. The GLP, of course, it's about ALU, but when you're applying, think of your own story, right? So believe in yourself. Personally, I doubted a lot around this, have I done enough to even apply to the GLP? I'm like, guys, just believe in yourself. You haven't been playing around for the last 2 years in ALU or 3 years if you're a final year student. You haven't been playing around. You've been doing a bit of work here and there, and you have proof to show. You have evidence. So believe in yourself and give yourself a shot at applying. I know that sometimes we join polls 500 people, but for the application, not even half of the people will get through half of it, right? But I want to first tell you to just believe in yourself. And when applying, remember that every word counts. So make every word count. Avoid dependency on AI. It is your story. AI uses a lot of words but says nothing, right? So just be authentic, right? The second advice that I would say is, again, while most people think of what should I do to go to Silicon Valley, I would challenge and encourage you to ask yourself, what do I want to bring to Silicon Valley that I can bring back when I come back, right? Because you're going for a program and later coming back, instead of, always thinking, okay, what do I, about Silicon Valley, think of what do I have that I want to bring there that I'm eventually going to bring back to my ALU community or to my Rwanda community, to the African world, right? When you start thinking like that, you realize that you are unique and the work that you've been doing might be unseen. Most of the times it is, right? Because it is unique to you. So talk about that, think of it in that way. Tell the story of who you are and what you want to take to Silicon Valley, what you see differently once you come from Silicon Valley, and shift your perspective that will help you to judge and weigh your contribution to the program and how it is going to help you change and how you want to help change many more people, right? Last question was it the qualities? Yes, the qualities of the qualities of other students in the GLP program, which I think contributed to the success. First of all, they are challenging. If you're selected, the first thing you should know is when you find yourself there, the other people will just challenge you. Do not be overwhelmed by that. Instead, embrace the challenge, because that's what life is like. It's not boredom over boredom. It's challenges, excitement, adventure. So the people around you are gonna be like that. So embrace that from people. Don't expect people to always be flowing. No, people should challenge you because that helps you grow. Something else people are pursuing in the GLP program, my peers were like, really, the French word is acharné, so they were really pursuing what they wanted. They are stubborn but listening. I think Laura and Jean know this. A lot of the students are stubborn but listening. So if you are not good at listening, start practicing that. If you are not too stubborn, no, if you're not stubborn, sometimes you lack confidence or even you're not bold about yourself, you can start practicing that. But be stubborn, but also be someone who listens, right? That's very important because by listening, you get to hear wisdom from other people. Something else about the peers, they were friendly. I got to make some friends. It's Evans on this call. Evans, it's one, okay, I don't want to say one of my favorite people, but if Evans is here, you guys, you know. And the last quality that I really appreciated in the other students was figure outing, in the sense of people will figure it out. Some people have that personality. They figure out, so I call them figure outing people, right? We would be stuck, sometimes sleepless nights, but we would figure it out. So those qualities really help during the program. I think I answered all your questions, Laura.
Yeah, thank you so much, Merve. That was awesome. Yeah, Maurice, do you have any other recommendations or advice to share with the cohort? And do you want to answer these questions?
Sure. Thank you so much, Laura. It's nice to meet you here and with everybody else. Dee, hello, how are you? So yeah, I first off my experience and overview my GLP experience. I think it's like so many more students was the hallmark of my, I would say, ALU education because we're just about wrapping it up. And the reason is it's just exposure on another level. It's an experience at the highest level there is. And I think everything leading up to, graduating from ALU is in action during this 1 month program. And usually it's the intensity that we underestimate. I think Laura is adjusting it by the cohorts so you guys can make the most out of it. But the intensity was out of this world, which I think is a good thing. All these company visits and all the professionals you got to connect and interact with, these were some of the best learning experiences we've had. And for you guys going in this coming round, you'll see how you literally work on concepts with G at the class and you leave out to Coursera and you find the same exact concepts being executed. And that to me is what makes a big difference. Seeing what it is you do in class, in real life, being executed, working or failing, it's just a different learning experience. And that's something that I hope you all, take or make the most out of. And then how have I leveraged the GLP experience to advance my professional goals? I think the one thing that I've been really big on is relationship building. And I think GLP got me that experience to just meet more people and connect. And out of it, I've just built so many brilliant relationships. And to date, almost everything that I do that is, professionally related, either consulting somebody we connected with, or, we working together, or we're just catching up. Like those relationships are things that you'll always be revisiting. So make very genuine connections, and it's work. You'll have to, stay in touch and share what it is you're doing. People open up and they'll let you know what's going on in their lives, and that's how friendships come up. So relationship building has been one of the things that have really helped me advance my professional goals. And then 3, what are my recommendations for students who are applying to the program? The application part might be the daunting pace, but I think just pour your heart out to it. And, tell your authentic story, who you are, what you believe in, what you're excited about. This STAR method they see a lot about. When you're writing up the piece in your application, mention that situation. What was the task that you were doing? What actions did you actually take, and what were the results? And most importantly, what were the lessons? Like wrap it up in a well packaged up way so that it's easy for the community to see, your qualities, what it is that you're bringing into the program. Because besides everything that the program has for you, you as an individual coming into the program, you've got to be bringing something else for the cohort. So you want to put that out very clearly in your application. And then finally, what qualities do you think students? Oh yeah, it's just a sense of personal initiative. So you don't want to get told what to do. Of course, there's guidance, but it makes a big difference when just I don't know how to call it, but from the heart in your head, you know what to do, or you know how to find out what you're gonna do, and you do that. And I think everybody who would do this was excelling. That was pretty much everybody in the cohort. And so you going out there, it's you equipping yourself for a very intense 1 month of back to backs, starting 8 a.m. to I don't know, sometimes 10, and you showing up the best you can. The thing you find out about this program, it's a really a unique investment from ALU to the students. And so when you go out there, how you carry yourself shows a lot of how much you appreciate that. So, when you're going out there, that's the one thing that you always remember. It's a serious investment in you. And so make it worth not just your while, but the while of the people who are investing in it. And so just so much appreciation that ALU is doing this for the, fourth time. Super excited for everybody who's applying. Put in the best, and let's see how it goes.
Thank you so much
Laura.
for sharing those reflections. That was great to hear. Next up, we had Cynthia, who is an alumni of the program 2 years ago and is now on ALU staff.
Hi, everyone. Like Laura said, my name is Cynthia. I was in the second cohort, so 2023. And I like to believe we were the best cohort. We're the cohort which had the most fun. But there's a question I saw. There's a person that asked if first years at ALU can apply. I don't think the application is open for first years. It's just second and third years, I believe. But on to the questions. Overview of the GLP experience. I don't know if you can hear me because it's a bit loud here. Okay. So my overview of the GLP experience, personally, it was a very eye-opening. It felt like I was on a self-discovery journey. You get to meet so many people from like so many walks of life, work in so many fields, and you get to ask them so many questions that when you look back, it helps you see where you want to be in the future. So like personally, one of the most transformative experience I had there was going to Coursera, and talking to the people there, I realized that that's the kind of environment I want to work in. I want to work in a place where I can have impact on people, especially when it comes to education. I wanted to do something that is in line with technology and education, but I wasn't really sure what. And the trip there helped me learn exactly what I wanted to do. Have I leveraged the experiences in terms with my professional goals? Oh yeah. So I don't know how Laura did it, but she managed to get us some of the best mentors. And I feel like my mentor has been such a key person in shaping the person I am today. He always helps me whenever I need advice, career advice. He does something that's very different from what I'm doing, but because he's been in the tech industry for such a long time, it's always so nice to hear advice from a person who's had all this experience. So that also the design thinking classes we've had really helped me when I was doing preparations for capstone, because you do a lot of presentation. And I feel like I did such a good job on my capstone because of the classes we had in G, like the backwards thinking and all that. So I feel like that really helped. My recommendations to students who are applying, like Merveille said, it's your story. And there's something that Frank Lance, so when we were there, Frank Lance was also there, and he kept telling us to be able to tell our stories, because if you're not able to tell your own story, someone is gonna tell your story, and they're not gonna say it in a way that's favorable to you or in a way that makes you look good. So you should be able to tell your story. And when you're applying, please tell your own story. Like they say, don't use ChatGPT to help you tell your story. Write it yourself. If you want help, find another set of eyes to help you review applications. But if you send it to ChatGPT and G finds out, it's gonna write a rejection letter from ChatGPT, and that's gonna be quite hurtful. What qualities do I think the students in my cohort had? Oh, they were very outgoing. The people in my cohort were very outgoing. They're also very fun to be around. I had not met majority of them when we went, and spending 4 weeks with people you don't know sounds scary, but because the people I went with were so nice and so outgoing, and they were so open to doing a lot of things, that made the entire experience enjoyable. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Christelle. Wonderful to hear your reflections to years on, and great to hear that you're still in close touch with your mentor. Okay, next up we have Evans. Number Evans?
Oh yeah, I'm right here.
Yeah.
Everyone, pleasure to be here with you guys. Very interesting experiences shared by the previous people. So the Silicon Valley program, I'm just going to answer like the major questions, which are first of all to share a little bit about the experience and the overview of the program in general. So I think one thing you should realize is that you're applying to this program to go to Silicon Valley. And objectively, Silicon Valley is the most innovative entrepreneurship ecosystem in the whole world, right? So this is a place where you're going to meet like the things that you see maybe in news outlets or on TV and things like that, you're going to experience them. You're going to see like self-driving cars, literally, you see cars driving around and there's no driver on the seat and things like that. So it's something that is going to really shift a lot of your perspective about things that are possible, right? It's going to like change your frameworks of thinking. It's going to change how you view what is possible and what is not possible. And that's something that was really, really transformational for me because, sometimes you really need to get out of your comfort zone or get out of the common things that you see every day to realize how much more or how much more bigger you can dream as a person. And I think being in Silicon Valley really gives you that additional edge or that perspective about life in general. During the closing remarks of in Silicon Valley, we actually like had opportunity to share a lot more about this experience thing, and you realize that you live from maybe let's say I don't know if there are people here that usually beg for Netflix password from their friends, or I don't know. You literally live from that to actually going to Netflix, for example, right? So you see how much the shift can come. You visit these big tech companies, you visit Google, you visit Facebook, you go to Microsoft, you go to Coursera, all those in the span of 1 week. You even meet presidents randomly, right? So those are the type of things that you don't take for granted, and those are the type of things that are going to definitely upskill or like elevate the type of experience that you have at Silicon Valley. So I'm encouraging everyone, just open your mind and start dreaming very big, because the things that you're going to encounter there or the experiences that you're going to live there will definitely blow your mind away. But of course, you are going there as a person to also bring your own contribution and your perspective to whatever is going on in Silicon Valley. To the second point, how to utilize your skills and experience you get from GLP program. So I think the first thing around that would be the aspect of building relationships, right? When you go to Silicon Valley or when you're part of the GLP cohort, it is very important to center on relationships. Relationships, not networks, as Fred would say, because what you would do there, like 1 month is too short to build like very solid relationships with people, right? But you're doing something like you're introducing yourself to people, you're getting to know people, and you're getting to build that connection that will carry on post-program, which is very important. And that's one thing that I really took seriously, because, if you go into the program, you will have a cohort, right? You come as a cohort. If you are centering yourself away from the cohort that you want to meet Sam Altman, you want to meet Elon Musk, you want to meet this person, that's good. But I can assure you that the biggest value that you gain from it is in the connection that you build within your cohort, because it's a long-term game that you're playing and you're trying to gain that network with those that are immediately with you, with those that go through the same experiences with you. So that's one thing that I really was intentional about, by building connections with people that are in my cohort. And of course, you will meet people all around Silicon Valley, but I can already promise you that maybe about 80 to 90% of them, you will likely not engage with them post the program, or the engagement will die down over time. But those that you will stay in touch with mostly are those that are part of your cohort. So you keep that very, very, you take that very seriously as well. I think that's something that was helpful to me. And of course, in G's classes on building your, maybe building your pitch deck, building your product, refining your startup idea, those are very helpful, because some people might come to the program with very refined startup ideas, and others will come to the program with things that are not yet so clear. But again, when you have those type of sessions, especially with G and some of the people that he brought on board, then you get to get like a bigger picture of what you're doing and how to refine, how to modify your idea. And by the time you'll be pitching on the demo day and comparing to how you came, you see that there's quite an upskill. There's like a big difference between those two instances. So you should take the classes very seriously. Then on the third point, on the advice that I'll be giving to those that are applying, is that first off, you should be able to, I think you should be able to show what you've done. Don't just tell stories about things that you've done or things that you're thinking in your head. Show things that you've done. If you have proofs, you have, if you can quantify it, right? If you have websites, anything that relates to the things that you've done, tangible things that you've done. Because everyone can write a nice story about things that they wish they will do. But I think the core here is that you have to go to Silicon Valley with an idea at least, right? Have you started working on it? Do you have a team? Have you started executing? What are the metrics? Do you have any revenue? What are the people you've impacted? Those type of things, right? It gives you more weight. It gives you more credibility, because you will go there and you'll meet people who'll be like, hey, what are you working on? Hey, for how long have you been doing this? And questions like that, which I think is very important that you have those metrics. And again, as Maurice also mentioned, you need to be very, very authentic with the stories that you tell, because you are talking about yourself, you're selling yourself to the admission committee. So you need to really use words that are very, very proper to you, right? I don't know, maybe you can use ChatGPT to, in the shape of whatever you're saying, but be authentic as much as you want, as much as you can, because it's going to reflect in the way your AC structure comes out at the end of the day. And then the last one, yeah, what qualities did the GLP students have that made them stand out? Guys, coming back to Merve's point, you're going to be challenged, right? Like they are going to select, in French they say la crème de la crème. They're going to select very top-notch people from your cohort that are going to come in Silicon Valley with one idea. You have to stand out. Some will be shy at the beginning, some will be low-key, but as time goes on, you're going to see the momentum building and people will be buzzing with so much energy, and you'll be wondering, like, am I in the right place? So when you come there, be prepared, because it's going to be quite challenging. And I don't know if Laura is going to pack the calendar more this year or she's going to reduce it, but you guys are going to go from one conference, from one event, from one anything to another. Like things are just step. It's going very fast, right? So you need to be ready. Come with your nice boots that you can walk around comfortably, because it's going to be physically and mentally challenging for everyone that will be selected. I think that's like my input on that, and I wish everyone all the best as you apply. Yeah, Laura, back to you.
Thank you so much, Evans. That was excellent advice. Next up, we have David. David, are you here? David Emmanuel? I see Jesse in the waiting room, who's a program alumni. Jesse, do you want to say anything? David? Let me just check if he's...
Laura, I don't think David is on the call.
I think he's not. Yeah. Is that Jesse? Is Jesse on the call?
Hi, Laura. Can you hear me?
Hi.
Hi. So I think most of my colleagues have pretty much say everything. Just one thing I wanted to add is I think someone mentioned it, just be like, let your story reflect your own personality. So like every other person I've said, you alone can tell your own authentic stories. So I don't think you should feel pressured by other people's story. Just tell your story and let your writing show your personality. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay. Okay, that concludes the student section. Let me just remove this. Okay, there we go. You can see me now. Okay, thank you so much, Jesse. Okay, awesome. So now I'm going to jump into the questions that you all shared in the form about for Q&A. Once I finish these questions, if you have additional questions, you can put them in the chat and we'll go through those. But I'm just going to run through questions that you've already shared with me in advance of this call. First, someone asked, what are the dates of the program? It would be the whole calendar month of April. So starting, you'd arrive in the Bay Area around April 6th. And then a group of students would also travel to Los Angeles around April 30th. So it's pretty much the whole month would be in the Bay Area. And then there would be a 4-day masterclass in Los Angeles. And then of the 20 students who are selected for the program, there'll be another interview process for selection for the Milken Global Conference. And that will be, those interviews will be hosted separately after the selection for Global Leadership Program is finalized. 5 students out of the 20 selected for GLP will be selected to attend a conference that would extend your stay in the US by 3 additional days. We're also potentially, there's a possibility of a few days in New York City on the return journey, but that's not yet been finalized yet. But we will share more information as that is finalized. Okay, eligibility, big questions, lots of questions about this. Can a student who will be in year 2 in January 2025 still apply? Yes. So there's a question in the application. It says in January 2025, what year will you be in? So if you're year 2 by January 2025, you can still apply. I think NG said earlier that first years could apply for the program. I mean, my advice would be to wait until next year when you're eligible for the program. If you want to apply this year, we'll likely skim your application and it will not go through the proper process. But if you want to practice what it feels like to apply, you can do so. But I would encourage you to wait until next year, because you'll be eligible next year. But yes, if you're turning into your second year student in January, you are eligible. We're just looking to have students who have at least 3 to 4 trimesters at ALU before going into the program. But if you want to apply earlier, your application will be skimmed, but because you're not properly eligible for the program. Okay. Are students eligible if they graduate before the Global Leadership Program? Unfortunately not. So this is tricky for lots of students in Mauritius, because if you graduate before the program, you will not be able to participate. Can you apply for the program if you are about to graduate the month after the program? That's also tricky. Yes, in general, in the past, we have not accepted students who are graduating within a few months of the Global Leadership Program ending. And we do prefer students who are returning to ALU for at least 1 to 2 trimesters after the program ends, so they can share their learnings with the wider ALU community. But if you're graduating soon after the program, there's the onus on you to show in your application how you're going to give back to the ALU community, and you need to demonstrate how you're going to share the learnings from the program with the wider ALU community, and that's going to be, so I would put special attention on that as part of your application if you are graduating within 1 or 2 trimesters from the end of the program. Okay. Is the program only available for those with skills immersion credit, a skills immersion term within that period? No. So anyone can apply regardless of whether or not you have skills immersion modules in 2025. In general, we are offering credit if you have skills immersion courses in January, May, or June terms. We'll be able to offer you skills immersion credit. So we can chat about that once the selections have been made. But no, anyone is welcome to apply. Okay. Now we're going to the financial aid and funding questions. So someone asks, is this program fully funded? Or is there a program fee? The answer is there's definitely a program fee. The program fee is $8,500, which covers a range of direct costs associated with your 1 month in the US. So that roughly allocates to, for your flight to the US will be around $1,800. Accommodation will be around $1,800. That's around $60 a day for a dorm. Food is generally around $75 a day, so $2,250 for the month. Local flights, those are flights to Los Angeles, potentially New York, and then to catch your return flight. So that's like $650 just for domestic flights. And then around $1,000 is allocated towards planned activities, site visits, and program-related experiences. And then the last $1,000 covers transportation within the US, Ubers, buses, trains, and other expenses. I think it's important that students who apply understand like the real value of the program. And just, I mean, Silicon Valley is, I mean, the US in general is very, very expensive, and Silicon Valley is perhaps the most expensive area in the United States. So there is a high cost of the program. And these are all, this is like direct expenses that are incurred by additional students, and that doesn't cover like the overhead costs of organizing and managing the program and maintaining these partnerships. But yeah, so the fee will cover all your costs in the Bay Area, and there'll be no additional out-of-pocket expenses that you need to cover beyond that program fee. That said, I expect all students to receive financial aid for the program. But yeah, different packages or financial aid will be available. So our financial aid process is we have a fixed budget for it, and that means that there's a total amount of aid that we can provide, but that's limited. So not all students can receive full or partial scholarships. And it's going to be distributed based on specific needs and composition of each year's cohort. So some students asked how many financial aid packages are available. There's no set amount that's available. There's no set amount per student that's available, but we have a set amount of financial aid we're able to distribute. So it depends on how much financial aid each student applies for, how much we're able to give out per student. But definitely, as you apply, as part of your application, you will be reviewed for financial aid as well. But as we have a very, yeah, so we continue. So yeah, as you review your application, we're going to assess your financial circumstances, and we're going to best allocate the available funds. And our goal is to provide as many deserving students as possible with scholarships. But given the constraints in that budget, the exact amount of financial aid will vary between students, and we'll make a fair and equitable decision, but we'll take into account the different composition of the cohort this year. And so that said, your ability to contribute towards the program fee, specifically payments of around $2,000 or more towards the program fee, will enhance your chances of being accepted in the program. This is because we have a maximum financial aid pool that has to be distributed throughout the program. So don't worry if you feel like put off by that huge program fee. It's like all students will receive some sort of financial aid package, but we encourage you to be as transparent as possible about what you're able to pay, because your ability to pay the program fee will be considered as part of your application and in the rubric. Okay, so now we're moving on to the application and selection criteria. What makes a strong application? I think you heard a lot about this from the alumni of the program, but in general, we're looking for well-written applications with so these are applications without any grammatical issues, very, very clear, concise, polished language, and exceptional storytelling. So you can really weave all your highlights at ALU and your motivations together and show how they align with the goals of the program. You need good grades in your transcripts. Applications submitted without your unofficial transcript will not be considered. And then while the video is optional, it's a pretty crucial part of the application process. And so sharing a compelling video will certainly help your application. So I would very much encourage you to submit a video and to spend some time putting that together to really tell your story, because it's a great way to showcase your personality and your passion and your energy, which can be hard to convey through your written statements. Lastly, we're also looking for your impact. So you need to show how your accomplishments and the impact that you've made in leadership roles, entrepreneurial ventures, or technical projects and how you can use those, how you can demonstrate examples of your skills and the positive outcomes you've achieved through these different projects. Lastly, we have alignment to the program. So if your career objective and your mission really aligns with that of the program, that will definitely help you. And then in general, you just have to craft an application that's not only strong, but memorable to the selection committee. So you need to demonstrate extracurricular excellence, as well as poise, ambition, confidence, dedication, emotional maturity, strong communication skills, and a willingness to learn and grow. I would say in previous years, the students who have been the most successful have been outstanding student leaders or high potential student founders, or they've been individuals with exceptional technical competence. And each year we'll try and balance the cohort so that it's very diverse, and that includes diversity in your missions, diversity in your background. Like, are you a student leader? Or are you a founder? And it will also include regional diversity, where you're from. It'll include your goals for the program and like what sort of mentors you're looking to connect with, so that we have a really strong, robust cohort, because we do a lot of different programming that ranges from tech to leadership. And I think you go to so many different sectors of like tech applied sectors, that we really want to have students that can really speak and connect with each of those experiences. And each year I'll see that different sessions or different talks will really appeal to different students. And that's when I ask students what the most memorable experiences for them were, or the most memorable sessions or talks, it's always very, very different what they bring up as having the most impact on them. And that's just because there's so many different lessons to be learned and different mentors to learn from. Okay. Okay. So internships. So if you're not selected for, that's another question someone asked, if you're not selected, are there any other opportunities to engage the GLP? We're hoping that students do a better job of sharing their story and like the lessons learned during the program but then also a lot of the incoming visiting experts and visiting faculty that come to the Rwanda future with the Mission campus, they were connected to ALU through the Global Leadership Program. So we are trying to send a lot of the speakers and company site visit hosts that we meet here to visit the Rwanda campus. So hopefully, if you're not unable to attend the program, that you can meet them when they visit campus. Okay, now feel free to throw in any question here. I'll go through. Okay, questions in the chat. Okay, are ALU alumni eligible? Unfortunately not. Are admitted students excused from school tasks? How does it reflect on the academic period while they're away? Or are students expected to balance with the program? So we moved the program this year to April, which aligns with like the longer intertrimester break. So students pretty much have the whole month of April off from other school responsibilities. So there'll potentially only be an overlap of the first week in May if students are selected for the additional LA extension. So you probably won't miss too much school in this year, but in general, no, you're not excused from other school tasks or responsibilities. That's why it's easier if you're in the skills immersion term, because the program will count as that module. But no, in the past, we've had students working and doing classes in the nighttime. We really want to avoid that, which is why we moved the program to earlier to align with this break. Okay. Do you provide a letter to seek for external funding? I could, yeah, if you want to help fundraise for your program, I could definitely provide a letter of acceptance into the program that details what your program fee is owed. Yeah, I could definitely provide that. How do you recommend one applies if he does not have a venture yet? How can he write a compelling application despite that? I would say less than around half or maybe less of students accepted in the program each year have their own ventures. I mean, it definitely helps because we want you to connect with VCs and investors, and we want you to be able to pitch your company and already have some experience doing that. But a lot of the students who participated last year did not have existing ventures, but they were different leaders in other ways. Like they were leaders for a nonprofit they work with. They were leaders in school. So I would just either tell the story of what you want to do, what your ideas are for how you'd like to create a company in the future, or create a project that you really like to focus on, or just other ways of how you demonstrate leadership. What's the max financial aid available for the program? I don't know what balance it will be in the end, but there may be full financial aid available but that would only be for 1 or 2 students. Yeah. No, I imagine there will be a few, like there will be significant financial aid. But I can't tell you the exact breakdown of how much how many slots there are for that. Okay, let me keep going. What happens if you have not started your own venture, but you are a founding member of a venture started by someone else? That's great. Share it. Please share that. Please share that. Please share that. That's definitely, yeah, you don't have to be a founder. You just have to demonstrate that you're a leader and that you have, yeah, that you're just have a very open mind and that you are, yeah. Okay, how is the selection process works and how many stages is it? It starts with the selection committee, which is around 10 people, reviewing all the applications, scoring all the answers, and then ranking the applications that they read. And then the top ranked applications move on to the next round. And all those applications are read by the selection committee. And then of that, around 30, maybe 25 or 30 will be moved to the finalist round. And that will include interviews in person or remotely. So I suppose you could say 3 stages. For selected scholars, does this program work closely with ALU MasterCard Foundation to work with expenses on their behalf? No, this is not related to MasterCard Foundation. So the financial aid application is very different from how MasterCard is assessed. Yeah, and no, MasterCard Foundation scholarships will not cover this tuition. Lincoln, I see you're raising your hand. Feel free to share your question in the chat so we can go through more questions. Yeah, in general, I just encourage everyone to apply and to just and don't worry about financial aid. Like you just on the form submit how much you are able to pay, and the upwards bound of what is possible, and then that will be reviewed by the selection committee. Yeah. Any final questions? So the deadline will be next on November 4th, so a week from Monday. And then we're hoping to have students to announce the cohort by early mid-December so that students can immediately apply for US visas. even if you're accepted into the program, unfortunately, last year around 33 to 40% of students were denied slots on the program. So sorry, they were denied visas. So please, and it's very, very random and very unfortunate how that is decided. But ALU all we can provide is a letter to the embassy about showing that that we're covering all your expenses for the program beyond the program fee that you will have already paid. And that will show that you're financially covered for your time in the United States. And then we will also we'll also directly contact the embassy and share that with them too, so that it will encourage you to, that will get you a visa slot. But then your visa interview, and they'll also have done a background check on your history. The ALU cannot advocate or change the determination of that interview, unfortunately. In general, if students can't show like a strong tie to the continent with classes or a job, and the US Embassy might think that there's a chance they might not leave the United States, so in the past they have denied some students. It is very unpredictable who they deny. So that's why we're having a wait list for the program as well, beyond this five, there'll be 5 students who are waitlisted as well. Okay. How can we apply? You should already have received the application form. It was sent in an email by SPD. If not, you can contact me or SPD, and I can share the form. Okay, this is a good question. Okay, what makes the cost for the program different this year juxtaposed to previous cohorts? To be honest, not much. Like the program fees of this year, we want to show students the real value of the program. So I think last year we said the program fee was $2,000. So when students paid like $2,000, they thought they were paying for the whole program. It's just a very expensive program, and $2,000 will barely cover the flight. So we just want students to understand the value of the program this year, but we don't expect students to pay the full program fee this year, and there will be generous financial aid awarded. If you don't have an unofficial AU transcript, can you upload a 1 trimester transcript? You should upload all your grades at ALU to date. If you're unable to access the ALU transcript, it generally means there's like a hold on your application for some reason, a hold on your profile for some reason. So we do want to see all your grades to date at ALU. Can you link documents like previous manager review and other documents to different parts of your submission? So ALU will review your application, and it will review what you write in the application. And that will be like the first point of review. You're welcome to include, and like you're actually encouraged to include links, but ALU is not responsible for reading all those links until so yeah, you can include them, but so I think that some students last year tracked all their links and were upset that they weren't clicked on. So don't like that. You can certainly include them as additional information, but the most important part is what your written statement and your video about explaining yourself. Okay. Can someone from outside of ALU write a recommendation letter? Someone who can validate your work. In general, we want your references, we want them to be 2 people at ALU. If you want someone from outside to write a letter for you, perhaps include that as a link in the application. Say that I did this work, and here's a link to a letter from my manager talking about like the great project I worked on. That would be a better way to show that. But no, your references, and the references will only be contacted if you are at the finalist stage, but they should be within ALU. If you have been denied a US visa before, can it affect you? Yes, I think it's very unlikely that if you've been denied a visa in the past that your visa determination will change. That said, it has happened. The very first question in the application is, have you been denied a visa? Have you been denied a US visa before? So we want to know if you denied a US visa before, because it can be tricky to come back from that. Okay. Awesome. I think we're at time. Feel free to hang on the call if you want to ask me any more questions. But thank you so much for joining, and I really wish you all the best of luck with the application. And then it's a very fun program, and I hope to have you guys. Yeah, look forward to having this in the next cohort here next year. No, your recommendation within ALU does not have to be strictly academic. I would say that if you have faculty as a referee, that will generally strengthen your application, because the faculty have seen you in a direct, and within the classroom. But no, they can be and someone you worked with on an extracurricular program or other project with it on campus. Feel free to email me. You can email me at SiliconValleyComms or lmapzone@alueducation.com. Does everyone have access to the application already? So I know that about 10 students have already submitted applications. I know it was circulated by SPD, but I think the application and the FAQs that were also circulated with it, they have all this information there too. Yeah, great. Thank you guys so much for joining.
Thank you so much, Laura.
Good luck. Thank you so much for the alumni for sharing their stories.
Yeah.
Yes.
So who is speaking? Thank you so much, Laura, for holding this session. I believe it was very insightful and interesting, really, for students to get their questions answered. And if they still have the questions, they can still reach out. The deadline is on 4th November. So you have a bit longer time to go through your applications. So please use that time to even consult these alumni so that they can help you with your application, because sometimes you don't know how to start with your story, but if they can give you maybe guidelines on how you can craft better your story. Not all people that have better stories know how to tell them. So I believe each and everyone has a better story to tell, and they might be good candidates for the program. So please use this time effectively. Good luck, everyone. Thank you so much, Laura, for creating this time for the students. Really appreciate.
So thank you for organizing, and yeah, please reach out to the alumni. They'll be able to share, and maybe they'll be able to give you some additional pointers on your application. Yeah, really good luck, and please, this is an exceptionally competitive process. I think less than 5% of students are accepted. Last year we had like 310 students apply, and in the end we only had like 15 students travel to the US. So it's a very competitive, tricky process. So I please don't be disheartened if you're denied this year. We had some students who were denied and then later on accepted. So hopefully if it doesn't work out this year, it'll happen in the future. But yeah, thank you guys so much for your time on the application and today on this call. Bye.